Thanks. We're here now with Senate Democratic Appropriations Chair Senator Vincent Hughes. What was the top priority that stood out to you in the governor's speech today?
Well, I think the continuation of the funding for education and making sure that Pennsylvania stays in compliance with what the court ordered, which is to make sure we deal with equity and adequacy with education funding. I think that's huge. When we don't do that, almost by definition, local property taxes have to increase. And so by doing that, we assure quality education, 21st century education for every child in Pennsylvania, and we also take the pressure off of local taxpayers. I think that's hugely important. And I think there's a great contrast in what we heard today from the governor. Stability, a focused direction, and it really contrasts with the chaos that is erupting in Washington, D.C., where they're working to take programs away, to shut down the Department of Education, to really wind up raising costs for Pennsylvania citizens and Americans all across the board. While we have a governor here who's talking about stability, pushing Pennsylvania forward, and reducing costs. I think the contrast is significant, and we need to get behind this governor and get this stuff done.
What do you think Governor Shapiro needs to do to work with this new presidential administration?
Well, I think he said it very clearly. He will work with the new president and all the folks in Washington. They just had a successful tour and conversation and meetings as a result of the travesty and the tragedy that occurred Friday in Northeast Philadelphia, where everyone was coming together, and make sure that folks understand when things work and make sense, and understand when they don't work and they don't make sense, when there's an unnecessary pain. Try to work towards common ground, which he has a good record of doing across the aisle.
As someone who represents southeastern Pennsylvania, what do you think about the governor's comments on funding for mass transit?
I think he's laid out, once again, a pathway forward to try to deal with mass transit funding and transportation funding, roads and bridges and highways and things like that. And it really, we've got to get this thing done. Transportation is too crucial, both mass transit and the roads and the highways, too crucial for the success of the entire Commonwealth for us to not get it addressed. The local folks in the SEPTA system, for example, has been a fair increase. There's been more local commitment. Now the state's got to step up and do its part.
Senator Vincent Hughes, thank you so much for joining us.